Oh, drop a pin. Hey, top of the morning to you. I'm Michael, as the grandkids call me Roo. Thanks for being on Roodoodles Live. That's right, it's Tuesday morning. It's the last part of June. It must be the 29th or something like that? I think it is. So this show is live, 8:57. Somewhere in the world is 8:57. Thanks for being here live. So let me say hello to a few of you, and let me jump on. And yeah, I had a couple of the books laying out there. They're on their way to me right now. Once I get them, I've already received a stack of coloring books. They'll start shipping out soon. Some of you bought both books. Thank you. And I'll be putting those together, and they'll be coming in. Still waiting on Doodle Doodle Fiddle Piddle to fly in here. And we did a pre-order, and they were opening up to the publisher. You may have noticed that little thing there. They're available now. You can get them at roodoodles.com. That takes you to the Etsy store. They come from me. If you want the book tomorrow, both are now available, along with Hey Roo, What's a Wheelbarrow on Amazon.com. So Pat and I, the book Noodle Doodle Fiddle Piddle is happening. So I'm going to pitch these for a few days. And why? Because that's what you do when you have a book. You're excited about it. You're excited about thinking like an artist. And so I thought that might be a little fun place to start this morning. And I'm just going to share, for the next few weeks, I'm just going to share a little story or two. Not that you can't read yourself, but I want to tell you kind of what went through my thought process, because this is important to you. Please hear this. Let me say hello, and then let me come back about thinking, and you thinking as you move forward as an artist. And trust me, I hit the like button a lot of times this morning on my early cup of tea, looking through Roo's Crew, and it's amazing how much talent is out there. And I'm not just saying that to create the community. You've already created the community. It's your community. It's Roo's Crew. But you guys are funny. You guys are witty. You guys are sentimental. You're heartfelt. Your art is already going out there and being expressed and expressing great things to other people. So I love it, love it, love it. Just really fun. So let me jump back here and just let me just go. Linda Lawless, hello, Fern Skelly, Patricia Deaton, Donna Barton, Kathy Morrow, Paula Brockman, thank you, John Robert Small. From the plantations of Veracruz, Irma Burton, thank you for being on the show always. You're an encourager. Denise Albright, creative. I could just find words about all of you. Jan Antholzer, I know you like Buffalo Bills because I can see it there in your. I had dinner with some Buffalo Bills one time. You know what? My life I'm highly favored. I was traveling around as a singer, songwriter, storyteller, and doing some banquet speaking, and I show up in Buffalo, New York, and I'm at the table back in the days, Frank Wright and Pete, and just a bunch of guys who were the old guys. And of course, Frank came on to Charlotte. He and I became friends. Sharon Clark, good morning to you. Karen Binder, Betsy Sobolewski, Sobolewski. Why are names with 14 syllables hard for me to pronounce? It's growing up in East Tennessee. That has a lot to do with it. Morning from the snug as a bug in a rug cornfields. That reminds me, anytime I hear bug in a rug, see, I think of my brain fires in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 ladybugs came to the ladybug picnic, and they all had sacks and ransack races, and they fell on their backs and fell on their faces. 12 ladybugs came to the ladybug picnic. Sesame Street. Debbie Cunningham, thank you for being on the show. Lori Stanley, Andrew Henderson, and you said you didn't get a pen from me, I think. Well, rats. And thanks for ordering the books. Andy Faglioli, thank you. Is it Faglio? Faglioli? Faglioli is so Italian. Ooh. Sounds like a piece of pasta or something. I love it so much. Jason Nichols, good morning. Coffee Creativity. Yes, please. Linda Linhart, Mary Lou Mahaffey, Skeeter Powell. Comment about John Robert Small. You two guys, if you guys don't ever have a cup of coffee soon, we're going to have to get Skeeter and you two guys to sit down. It's going to be a pretty fun meeting. Heather Kuhlman, thank you. Yeah, Smoky Point. I'm sorry about there. Pauline Bold, thanks for being on the show. Emily Bowen, Dolores Bolan, and Deborah Tauber, Barbara Mayer. Pat Brooks, thank you. Just got off the tennis court. Woo. Okay. Hi, Roo and fellow crew member Sue Kane. I know Sue is always from Australia, mate. Loving the books on the desk. Me too, Jason. Thank you so much. It's kind of fun. If you guys get your book written, take a shot of it on your desk because it needs to stay there. Then it needs to fly out to the world. And I'm going to jump on the book here in just a second and tell you something about it. Amy Roach, thank you for being on the show. Bert Cohen, I like your work there. I recognize the doodle playing the banjo with his foot up on the gut bucket. Elaine Walker, I think it is. Sandra Stone, rocket launch from Space Coast today. Ooh. Wow, I love that so much. Talking about rockets yesterday, man, I love seeing the shuttle fly when it used to fly from down there. I lived just not far from the Cape, 2 hours. We'd go down sometimes and watch those things. We could actually just go, we were half a mile from the ocean, just out of Ponte Vedra Beach. And well, on night launches, we could go over there. And when it went north, oh my gosh, it just would light up the sky. You didn't even need binoculars. With the naked eye, you could just see it. I don't know why they call it the naked eye. It's closed in my head. But you know what I mean, without glasses. Jason, you got to go back to school. Trish Brown, thank you. Pat Lightbody, welcome to the show. Toasty Roasty Tuesday, Jimmy Jensen. I'm sorry about that. Kathy Lennon, thanks for being on the show. Viv Lim, hey, welcome everybody. She says, Elaine Woodruff, Carol Tard Monday. Tia, thanks for being on the show. Got a couple brushes coming your way. I'm excited about that. Kim Mills, Beverly Schmidt. Jen, thanks for being on the show. It's Guarino. Annette Wall. Wow, look at all you guys on here. Dawn Deal, Jackie Wallace, Chris. Wow. Let me jump ahead. I want to get to the Audrey. I could just spend David Russell. Good Italian accent's the only one I got, right? That in East Tennessee, my friend David Russell. David Nathan Russell, he goes by. Dear friend. He's, when I've talked about this dear friend of mine who someone posted the other day and they said, oh, that's putting a cherry on top. And I go, no, but I know where that comes from. That's an old saying, but my friend Joyce, David's wife, wrote a book called Putting a Cherry on Top. And I can see it right across the way right there. It's a great little story. You might like it. Put a cherry on top. That was kind of her role in business for years, and she still does that incredibly well today. Put a Cherry on Top by Joyce Russell. You might want to find that book. It's a great book on hospitality and just going the other mile. It's what you guys do when you sit down. And yesterday, I was talking about being creative with your art, and I was was saying that you have to realize you're highly favored and you get to give yourself away like that. And so if you're an artist, the fun part is you paint, and then what do? You just let them stack up in the corner? No. I gave away about 3 years of art before somebody finally came in and said, hey, I'd like to buy that little piece of art. I'm going like, seriously? And I'm not being false. It's not false humility here. I was just going like, whoa. And you know what I say? Yeah, well, get your art on a wall. And it's really fun. It builds your confidence and it helps you paint more. And that's what this is about if you want to be an artist. And I'm not just talking about painting. I'm talking about art in everything, in food, in writing, in children's stories, in how you host people, how you serve people. That's what we're talking about. Pat, always fun to have you on the show. And Pat is the creative brains behind the art in this book. You know, when I would say the rules, which I really don't have rules in watercoloring, I think you ought to break all the rules, but they're sort of my sayings that help people. And that's not just in painting art, that's all art. It's just life in general. But at the same time, I just wanted, Pat was keeping up with all these things that were said. And out of those came a list of things. Where did those things go? They went into a journal. In fact, I think it's one of these. I'll show you this right now as we talk about thinking like an artist this morning. Look at this. This is not dated, of course not. See if I can find a date close to it. It was probably in March. There's a date on here somewhere. I don't date everything in my journal because I go back through these. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I date when I start them. You would see that on again. There's February. So there's February 8th right there. Started this. And then, so you're looking at about March sometime, and it says Roo's Rules right here. Oh, you can't even see the book I'm looking at. I'm so sorry. What a dummy. Okay, there it is right here. Here's the journal that I'm looking at. So here it is, Roo's Rules. And so I had this list, and Pat typed out some things that I said on the show, and there were like 150 or 200 things. And so I just started making a list of them. Get behind the mule. Everything is fodder for a story. Watercolor first. Are you afraid of water? Start small. Holidays. Good for people, great for art. You know, so these are the things that I started going through in my list, and those are the things that became the book. So thinking like an artist may not just start at your art desk. It may start every time you pick up a pen and a piece of paper. So I wanted to share that with you this morning. Let me just give you an idea on the book, and then we're going to get to painting here. Okay? Oh, package came. Great. Chris, I'm glad it came there. Got a couple more things to send you. You got a pound of coffee and I think you got a pound of coffee out of that too, on the auction. I could have it messed up here. So, okay. All right, here we go. I saw that quote too, Laura. Somebody quoted Picasso yesterday. All right. All right, so here's the page right here. See this? So one day I was talking about thinking like an artist. When I did my art classes, and those of you who took the art classes, quite a few of you, thank you so much. I always had a card, and I hope you have your card on the wall somewhere on your desk so you can see it, framed maybe. But I want it to be loose enough to always change because you need to write on it creatively all the time. How do I think like an artist? Not am I an artist? Not how long have you been an artist? Let me just show you the story. So here's what I said just off the cuff. I said, people say, well, how do you think like an artist? I go, no, this is not about me. This is about you. How do you think like an artist? You see, because if you knew what I was thinking, that'd be scary because you don't want to be in my mind. You don't want my experiences. You don't my travails and my travails, is that what it is? Or my hard work or my dramas or tragedies or moments of glory. You want your own. There's an old rule that I used to say in leadership all the time, and this is what led me to writing Hey Roo, What's a Wheelbarrow? I have a whole series of leadership according to the wheelbarrow. There's this rule that's like this. If you were sitting with 10 people and you rolled all your troubles, everything that's happened to you in your life, good and bad, but if you rolled everything in the wheelbarrow in a room with everybody else's and you dumped it in the floor, and you heard everybody talk about their life, by the end of the night, you'd want to load your stuff back up. You go, I don't want what that guy dumped out. I don't want what she's hauling in the room. I don't want what that guy brought to the dance. I want what I had. I'm comfortable with that. So I want you to think like you think as an artist. So I just said it like that. Pat drew it like this. If you knew what I was thinking, that would be scary. But think like an artist anyway. So here's what it means. I'm going to share a little quick story with you. I ask every artist I meet, Carol generally does the same, especially if we're at a gallery. How do you think like an artist? I just want to know how you think like an artist. Some people say, well, I have to have 7 colors, and I have to have my favorite color, and I have to have my favorite brush. Okay, that's part of it. What else? Well, I carry a journal. Ooh, I like it. Why? Because I write things down so I don't forget them. I carry field notes. The guy who created field notes says we don't write it down to remember it later. We write it down to remember it now. So you will never find me, never, ever find me without several things in my pocket: a silver dollar, a pocket knife, and a pen. Because you can generally even write on your hand, or you can rip off a piece of a paper bag. I drew on a piece of paper bag at Trader Joe's the other afternoon, a rooster with a lady, her name was Han, and my name was Han. She was Asian, and I said, this is funny. You thought we had the same name, and we don't. Mine means rooster. She goes, oh my. And so I said, because I paint roosters, and she goes, I want to learn to paint. And so I ripped off a little piece of paper bag, sketched her something right there. Always carry a pen. I think like an artist. How do you think like an artist? They look at me. Well, I don't know. What's it like to be an artist? They repeat. What's it like to be an artist? I said, I didn't say what's it like to be an artist. Or do you call yourself an artist? Or were you trained as an artist? I want to know how you think like an artist. You see, thinking like an artist, listen to me, changes everything. Some say, wow, think like one. I never thought about that. What do you think? And so I give them the rule. What do I think? If you knew what I was thinking, you'd be me, and that'd be scary. And the other thing is, the world would be missing out on your process, your art, your takeoff, your approach, your landing. Your own thought process is important. There is more than simply copying other art. This is more. It's like learning something from them, but putting your own think on it. Pastiche, remember the French word? You copy to learn technique and style, and then you apply it to what your visual voice is. This is what makes thinking about your art different. I know how I think like an artist. I keep a journal. It grows as I grow. Some areas of it may change as I approach each project. It is an eternal guide. It's storytelling. It's visual stimulation. It's beauty. It transports. It calls out to some and it calms some. It disrupts and it interrupts some. It prayerfully, I hope, leads us into story. Because I do believe that art without story is just something you nail to the wall. But I think art with story gets communicated. It's art that's valued. It's shared. It's art that's grouped around the table, almost like good food. And you go, I get that. That makes sense. These are the boundaries for me to work between, yet I still run outside the lines. Okay, I know how I think. I don't paint within the lines. I don't want you to either. Your thinking acts as a governing pattern as to how you approach art. Expect ideas to appear, expect results, how you handle mistakes, your victories and restarts. And don't think that's not important. It'll also go into, and I do this further in the book, about when people critique your art. And they say, well, it just doesn't. You remember what I said? She said, I only buy fine art. And I said, my art is fine with me. And when I was able to stand on that piece of ground, I got a little more confident. It wasn't arrogance. It was just like, my art's not for everybody. People ask me today, how can you do a painting show about roosters? And I go, I don't know. People like chickens. They like roosters. Everybody's kitchen, somebody's mother had a rooster in their kitchen. Roosters wake up the farm. Roosters are on top of churches. Roosters are mentioned in the Bible. Roosters are troubadours in every language. La couleurs, they are the troubadour. They are in Disney movies. They're everywhere. I like the way they become poets. And poetry to me is an art form. That's not in the book, but you see how this just leads one thing to the other. Thinking like an artist will help you develop your style, And that is instrumental in moving your art forward. So there's the book right there. You can find it on roodoodles.com. And there's Roobots. This is the coloring book. It is out. It's for kids to color and to help and color with fine, maybe watercolor pencils and fine line markers. It really wasn't built for crayons, but young kids could color with crayons. If you're going to do that, buy two, because when they get older, they're going to want to do a little more detailed work. And all these are stories of how I came up with the concept. And then here's a what if you draw it. What if is in here too. So there's the books. So I want you to think like an artist. Let me paint something, and I'm gonna continue that process with you this morning. I got to paint something just for fun because we got to get going here. Not that I'm in a rush. I love chickens. I love chickens. Somebody, who said that? Tambly Marie? Did you say that? That's funny. Hey, I'm taking this tape and I am putting it on my leg of my jeans. Okay, I can put it on my shirt, but this shirt is it's been pressed. I didn't press it. Don't worry about that. You don't think I went that far, did you? This is Kilimanjaro 140-pound bright white paper. There it is right there, pressed. Boom. Let's see if this is going to work. I probably may not have ripped off enough tape. This is a big old piece of paper, but I'll get there. That's big enough for a little painting right there. Give the rest of it a little natural matte around, okay? So why did I put the tape, of course, on my pants to just get some lint on it so I won't rip the paper up. And then let's put a little piece of music here. And let's do something down here. I was into Dvorak yesterday, so I think I'm going to stay there a little bit. And I wanted to draw this little rooster just celebrating life a little bit. So I think he's going to be looking back over his shoulder. He's not huge. He's like so. There's his... I love just sketching quickly like this. It allows me to just give the rooster a little bit of life. And you know what? That's just not going to work for me right there. I'm just going to get rid of that piece and let this tail out. Yeah, I needed those feathers to go out farther. I put myself in a box, so I just unboxed myself right there. Heck with that. I'll just leave two on there. Watch this. I'll leave that edge and it'll wind up with something funky when I'm done with it. I bet it will. There we go. Let's see if this is going to work. Yeah. So much for lines. Who needs them? I always felt like Dvorak, when he was writing his music, was either felt like he was marching to, I don't know, he could have been marching to pick blackberries for his mother, but he was marching somewhere. I don't know if he was going to war. I don't know. I don't read enough about those guys to know. I used to laugh with a director of music that the guy who recorded my first album was a guy named Charles Crocker. He was an engineer, and he loved arias, and he loved classical music, and he was leading this church music one time, and he said, you didn't look like you were singing today. And I said, I try to sing songs that are later than 1650. So I said, how come you do all music by dead people? So it was so funny to him at the time. And I thought I'd insulted him that it started a relationship. And he said, what kind of music you do? So I picked up a guitar and I said, this. And he goes, I've been waiting to record some of that. So that's how my first album became. Went in the studio and he did it. Pretty fun guy he was. All right, so there's a little Roo, and I just need a little bit of water on the page. So I'm just painting with water. Don't be afraid of water. Just splatter some in there. Just throwing it down, popping it in with the brush. Don't worry about where it's going. If I splatter it out too many places, so what? Who cares? I'm going to go in right here and just pick up his wattle, and then a little bit on his comb. I'm using a number 2 SW Yasutoma brush. So those of you who are asking, what does he have now in his hand? That's it right there. Unfortunately, I'm so tough on my brushes up here, sliding my hand back and forth, that I pretty well slide the printing out, but it's a Yasutoma. Oh, and I want to answer a question. Someone yesterday asked me this. Oh, what is that brush that has the green on it? Right there, this one. You're asking me about this brush. It's made by Yasutoma. It is not bamboo. It's a plastic sleeve that looks like bamboo, and which honestly, I hate to tell you this, but it lasts longer than bamboo. After about 4 years, I'll wear these out or the bamboo will split, but I like them. This one is called the JB100. JB100, and here's what that stands for. You ready? Drum roll, please. Japanese brush. So this is from Yasutoma also. I think you can maybe get this brush through, you could probably order this through Cheap Joe's, or you can just go Yasutoma, which is out of California, and tell them Roo sent you. Say, hey, Roo told me I need to order one of these, and so give them a holler. They'll, I promise you, they'll take care of you. Okay? So they sent me quite a few brushes, or actually they sent them to Trader Joe's, Cheap Joe's. There's too many Joe's in my life. They sent them to Cheap Joe's, and so that's why I'm giving away some brushes right now. They said, hey, we love that you use our brush. We have fun for you painting on the show. They're posting some of this in other places, and so it's great for them to give away some brushes because they want people to know that their brush is just not a calligraphy brush. It's great for writing if you do calligraphy. I don't write well enough to do calligraphy. Pat would probably love these brushes, but also the small brush that I know she likes is a brush like this. This is an American Journey brush, and it's called a rigger brush. This is a number 3 rigger. So if I had to do just a small little thin line, I could lay it down like this. Look at this. You see that little thin line right there? Oh my gosh. Okay, that's a rigger, R-I-G-G-E-R. These are American Journey brushes here, and they're just interlock nylon. They're not outrageously expensive brushes. Don't have to be. Don't need it. Like the purple in this. You got to be ADD to do what I do, though, I think. I called it Fast Brain. Thank you, Dr. Jim. Dr. Jim called it Fast Brain when I worked with him. Little Terry Tardy turquoise up in here like this. I think I'm going to pull a color in I don't know if you've seen me use on this show. Ready? Drum roll, please. I was visiting with my friend Ann Nielsen, the artist, and I took her some colors and made her a palette, and I just put a little shot of it right here. It is, ready for this? Ooh, is it lilac, I think? Or, man, I was going to tell you exactly what it is, and now I've put it in there. And I can't tell you. I'll have to go look it up. Let me turn the music down just a little bit. May not be loud where you are, so. It's not lilac. What is that? I'm going to walk over there in a minute and get the dadgum cotton picking tube and see what it was I squeezed it out of. Periwinkle. That's it. It's periwinkle. Couldn't say it there for a minute. Took me a minute to come up with periwinkle. Periwinkle sounds like something you would eat, not something you'd paint with, but it's kind of a light blue, kind of a cool color. I like this rooster, though. See how he's got a little bit of, I think he needs a touch of red right there. Just a touch. See what I did? Just touched it in there. Didn't really want to make it a paint stroke. I just wanted to let it drop in on some of that water and go somewhere. What I want you to learn to do is just have fun with your paintings so that you don't feel like you're forced to put them in places where you don't want paint to go. Sometimes people just get really locked in and you feel like, oh, I have to have this there, or I have to do that, or I don't ever feel like I have to paint the entire background. My painting is not about the background, but I do this. I love it when people paint the background. I like to see art that has a background. But really, I just like to think that it's sky. I like to think that Rooster's out there on the farm, and if I paint this rooster standing in front of an old 1920s weathered barn, then I feel like I've got to paint all the boards and all the knot holes and all the rusty nails and all the little crevices and the weather worn into boards. And that's not what my painting is about. I think like an artist differently. Mine is about the rooster who's on a mission. He just happens to walk by the barn on his way to where the corn is being thrown out to say, back off, it's my turn to eat. You see, I just turn this into a bit of a story. It's how I operate. It's how I think. I'm not saying think that way, but I want you to know how you think like an artist. See what I did there? I just went right back to the beginning of the show. That's what happens when you do that. Okay. From Tampa Bay, Elaine Barnett, thank you for being on the show. Good morning from the Twin Cities. Laura Mayer, thank you for being here. Terry Tardy Turquoise just did it. Ooh, lilac. I think I said lilac, but I think it's periwinkle. It is periwinkle, Amy Roche. Yeah, Roche, that's it. Susan DeLay, you'll have to try them for lettering. If you're good at hand leathering, you would like the sharp tip of maybe a number 1 bamboo brush, or you would love a rigger brush. And I'm going to see if I can show you another one here. Sometimes these brushes are called liners. If you were an automotive hot rod person and you saw people do pinstripe, they would do it with a brush that maybe had another 1.5 inches of hair on it like this. They could lay that brush down. It would be very thin. They could drag that line across. This is number 3. And watch this. I'm just going to take some of this right here and just drag it to the outside. Watch this little line right here. Let's see if I can find something to make a little light line out of. There it is right there. See those little lines that come down? They're just lightweight. I mean, really. Look at that right there. I think you just saw that one just shoot out right there. But watch, I'll do it one more time. Whoa. See how it makes those little... I love it. I could probably get a little bit, if I went in here and got just a touch of black on this, I could probably get some eyelashes with it. Look at that right there. And that's a lot of paint in that brush, probably more than you need. And I'm going to go in and just do the eye right there. Okay, so that's a rigger brush. Might be a brush that you want to include. You think, well, I couldn't cover much ground with that. No, they're not supposed to cover ground. This is, if I'm painting a fishing fly, this is what I would do the tail of the fishing fly with, okay? This is what I would do the little feather marks with on a fishing fly. Like if I were giving you the fishing fly here like this. And I wanted to come in and just get some, and try not to paint fishing flies if you're holding this up, but I think I want to show you what I'm doing here. Take a look at what's happening right here. Can you see that? Let me get this out of the way. Nothing like changing gears when people need to see what's going on. Here it is. Look at this. Ran into the black there, and there it is. And I could come in here and grab these. And if I wanted to, I could lighten those on up. I'm making them a little heavier so you can see them on this show. If I want to come in and maybe just grab a little bit of this red and just build the body of this here with this rigger brush also. And just let it come in like that. So there you go. There's the start of a fishing fly. I could come back and maybe just get a little bit of purple here. And I literally am lightly touching that. Look at that. See how thin those lines are? And I'm going to let them come back this way. And then, love this right here. Watch this. I'll go in here and just take and put some little feather spots in there. Okay, there you go. Voila. One little brush, 3 different colors, black, yellow, 4 different colors of black. And I didn't even worry about doing this with the, there's the hook coming in right there. There's the eyelet. Maybe there's the string. Okay, there you go. There's fishing fly. All it needs is maybe a little bit of titanium white just coming in right here. Oh, yeah, look at that right there. I'll get rid of some of this right here. That's just a little brush guard. And then might get some of the purple and just splatter it like that. Oh! Wasn't even planning on doing a fly, but I kind of like that one. That's cool. All right. I need to put it somewhere. It's not going to work. Okay, let's go back and get this, and then we'll finish this up. And then I got something I want to share with you this morning that is more about how I think like an artist. What am I doing here? I didn't like when I moved that painting over there. It was still wet, and I literally caused the paint to run into a place I didn't want it to run into. So while it was still wet, I just took my paper towel and blotted it out a bit. I need a little bit of this yellow in the tail. Oh, that's nice. Okay. And I think I need some details here. In detail and details. Now I'm going to pull this up right here. I'm going to pull this tape up. And I like that hard corner that I left there. And didn't leave any on that side, which turned out better. So my mistake really turned into something that I really like. Wish I'd have hit the trash can with that, but I didn't. David Russell's still on the show. He's the basketball player. I was not. He did. I had one shot, and it was accurate only 6 out of 10 times. I got actually better at it when I had a hook shot because my brother had a hook shot, and I thought that was always fun. I was like, I want to have a hook shot. Why can't I have a hook shot? Okay. Roodoodles.com, Michael, 21. I needed a caption on this. Heard that. The pop of a cork. There you go. That'll get you to turn around. Heard that? The pop of a cork. Nice little Roo painted on Kilimanjaro rag cotton. Original bright white. Love this paper. Thanks, Joe Miller. I think Megan sent me this paper, so blessings to you. All right. Hello from Houston, Texas, Amanda Smith. Glad to have you here. If it feels like work, I'm not having fun. I think it was Mark Twain who said to Tom Sawyer, work is, you're obliged to think about work, but if it's play, it ain't really work, is it? When he was getting other people to paint his fence. The older I get, Ashford says, the periwinkles around his eyes get deeper. Brother, the reason the periwinkles around your eyes get deeper is because your truck drives more miles than anybody else. My friend Ash just got in his truck in Indiana last Thursday and started out to Colorado Springs to go be a part of a service, a funeral for a friend. Not a funeral, but a funeral. And told stories the whole way out and back. So he's back. It looks like he's back home. I'll call you today, my friend. We'll chat a little later. Hey, I got to read you something this morning. My husband, I watched a British show yesterday. It was about several artists. One lady cut pheasant feathers to make a quill, painted with it. Man, she apparently has more time than I do to go out and wrestle down the pheasant. I did used to have a pheasant feather, though, in my Robin Hood hat. And yes, I had a Robin Hood hat. What kid didn't have, well, I was 20, but what kid didn't have a Robin Hood hat when they learned to shoot a bow? Huh? Yeah, I know I'm crazy. I don't want to grow up. Or tree branches. Yeah, tree branches would be good for that. Can you share the name of the show, please? What? It must have been another show. Somebody, I don't think you're asking me that, okay? I'm looking to see if there's any questions. Are you taking a Roodoodles class? Not yet. I'm not teaching one. But that wasn't for me either. Hey, I'm going to start a new class later this summer. I'm not going to start one for a while. I've got plenty of mailings to get out, books to mail, and I'm getting ready to work on a TV show. And I'm also right in the middle of about 4 video projects. I was shooting video all day yesterday, not all day yesterday, but when I got off. So I struck a note there with Lori. I love it when I only frame part of my painting. Yeah, me too. It just makes it look like that rooster is looking back into an open space, right? He's not boxed in. Sometimes I just love it when that happens. All right. I love this community. Sending sunshine from Homeworth, Ohio. Laura B says, B-E-E, I like that. All right. So here's my painting today. You know what? I'm going to do something with this painting. I think I'm going to sell it. Yeah, I like this. Heard that, the pop of a cork. I think he needs a little bit of just Payne's gray underneath here in the shadow. Just a little bit of shadow down here. Just a touch of shadow right there. Just to let that frame break a little bit more. Kind of like when that happens. Just let that just waller in there. Waller is a word that you don't see much in painting circles. I've never heard any of these things from art teachers because I never had any art teachers. But I bet if I'd had an art teacher, she wouldn't have said, let's just let a little of that waller in there for a little bit. She said, son, where did you grow up? And I'd have to say, East Tennessee. My uncle was a pig farmer, so they wallered around a lot. There we go. All right, I like that. A few little last pieces, maybe just a touch of a little blue right here that might break the plane just a touch right there. Love it, love it, love it. Okay. All right, so good, so good, so good. You can fiddle with these all day long. There's a point where, read the book, it's time to put the brush down and back away from the easel. My email's all popping up, coming crazy here. So that's a painting. This is painted on 9x12 paper. It would probably frame at, I don't know where my tape is. Here it is right here. Let's see. We would probably frame that at about, matted at 10 inches. So it's 9x10 is what that would wind up being. 9x11 would be a nice frame around that. So match it out. That's cool. I like it. I'm going to lay it down here and let it dry before I'm tempted to do something else to it and mess it up. So how do you think like an artist? My mom always said kids were wallowing around. Morning, y'all. Off to a funeral later, so I had to pop in a dose of fun and say, yeah, well, we don't call those funerals, depending on the life of the person. Ashes coined the phrase funeral. It's spelled the same. I think we need to put another N in it, but it is. Okay, so where do ideas come from? What do you do with them when you have ideas? And see if I can do this in a few minutes, and I'll finish one more painting. This is important to you, those of you who are deep into this community of being an artist in any form, pottery, quilting, tatting. Yes, I know what tatting is. I found a book yesterday on the side of the road. It's more on that story later. Said free art stuff. My truck slides to a halt. I put the box in there. I have to show you one of the books, and I'll probably show you that on Saturday. There's a book on pottery. There's some frames. There was some gesso. There was some masking fluid. I don't want to wear a mask right now, but you know what I mean. Okay, this book right here is an art journal, and it's called The Japanese Album. And I wanted you to see the cover of this Japanese album. That has never been unwrapped. It's from Moleskine, Moleskine. Look, they make great products. They are not cheap. They are expensive, but they're good products. The reason I use that is that here's one unwrapped. I think many of you have seen this many, many times. And this is the way it works. There's about 21 pages in here, but it really is just one page. They're all linked together. And so this was, of course, my trip to France that I'd show over and over. But this is when I'm going to do one of these this summer in Maine. So I'm taking this one with me to Maine, and I'm going to paint every day I'm up there. In a week, I can do this whole thing like this. So this is my painting. So I like if you're going to use moleskins for your travel journals, the paper's not going to be bright white, but make sure you get the one that accepts. Ready for this? Look at this. It's going to have an indigo or what's the name of that paint I just told you? Gosh, not lavender, but periwinkle. It's going to have a little bit of a periwinkle on the cover, and it's going to say it's like watercolor, so it will accept a little bit of watercolor. You want to make sure it's not just one of the thin ones, because if you do, you're going to be frustrated. Unless you're Michelle and you're painting on receipts the whole way and making your journal out of that, which we all know how clever that is. So make sure if you're getting a watercolor moleskin, if you're going to paint watercolors in it. If it's just a journal, this one is watercolor. In fact, I don't think I have any but watercolor. So I can always put color in mine like this when an idea comes to fruition and when I'm working on something. So that's where my ideas come from. So I keep up with them. This, of course, one of my first journals I ever did. just carried it around, wrote notes next to it, did things, trees, birds, when I was just starting out. Um, so I'm going to do that in Maine with the Japanese journal, which is this one that is just one piece of paper. I'll explain that one more time. This is accordion. And I know some of you have made these, but take a look. That's just one piece of paper. It's all glued in, but it unrolls like this. So you can paint on it, flat, turn the page. There's another one, turn the page. You have an open space like this. I break the plane lots of times. That's fun to do. Here's in the bay. Here's in the streets. Here's blue. This broke the page. This painting is right in the middle. Here's the food. So it lays out flat, folds over. All right. When people, I bet I get this. I bet I get 5 emails a week saying, "Tell me about journals. Tell me about what I should be sketching in." A good pen, a water brush works great for that. Okay, and a small pad of, or a small container of papers. This is where it goes in your bug out bag right here. And use your own. Use whatever you want. I use this for my bug out bag. It's a canvas bag, 7 by 12. I got 2 left. I'm having some more printed, but in here's 2 water brushes. Also a couple of little short brushes like this. Look at that. Is that cool? Compare this to one of my other regular Cheap Joe's brushes. There it is. I keep those in there. And then I keep a little, I carried this particular, no, I carried my one with the Altoid box to France. I painted it all week. I didn't need any more paint. And I think I've still only put 1 color in it. I could paint out of this for a year. I mean, it's crazy. So don't waste paint on big open palettes thinking that you're like an oil painter. You have to squeeze out an ounce. You don't. Watercolor takes off and runs forever. Be frugal with your paint. And I used to just do 6 colors, and now I've got 4 other colors up in the lid. I've got a purple. I've got a spring green. I've got my Territori turquoise up there. I've got a little orange. I've got a little sienna brown. I've got French gray. I've got ultramarine blue. I've got royal amethyst purple. Every color I need is right here. So a water brush is just that. It's a plastic tube filled with water. I squeeze it. Water runs out. Boop, there it is. And then I paint with that. I keep it clean on a paper towel and squeeze it before I go back in. I'm ready to paint. Park bench, on the bus, on the train, wherever. All right. Hey, for years, this is how I've been keeping some of my work. I love that, Roo. I may have to splurge and get one that style. Use moleskins for my travel journals. Yeah, I'm going to tell you, if you get the one with the indigo or with the periwinkle cover, it's going to say for watercolor also. It'll make a difference if you're carrying watercolor around. Otherwise, you're just going to, like all my little Bible journeys, I'll show those for you. I use moleskin for gouache. Gouache is a little, gouache is a little different. Gouache is a mixture between, gouache feels like acrylic with a touch of water, and it doesn't get as soupy. You don't need, most of the time you don't. They are expensive, Jason, you're right. That's a great size. By the way, that size is, I think you're going to see this size is what I use all the time, not the big ones. I think you're going to find this is 5.5. There it is, 5.5 by 8 1/4. They call it 5.5 by 8 1/2, and so that's the size of this journal. Okay, I don't know why I'm rushing. I just like to pile more in these shows so that you leave your head spinning a little bit. So I also work kind of fast. Okay, the half pans, you can get those online, just Amazon. They're very inexpensive. These are little half pans. By the way, my half pans have magnets on the bottom of them. Just little adhesive on one side, the little thin magnet. Just stick them on there and drop them in the pan, okay? My first one doesn't. After about 2 weeks, I've put enough sticky paint down in there that I think you'd have to dynamite them out. But half pans, you can get on Amazon. My water brush are Niji. Those are from, I love these. I've used, the Pentel ones are good. These are from Yasutoma, and man, they seem to work really, really well. And they have a little bit of a bigger water reservoir. I carry one Sunday in my pocket that's about this tall, but it runs out pretty quickly. But and I generally use just a medium point. There it is right there. All right. Maybe I'll do a painting with that in just a second and show you how that works. I was going through, this is where I write down ideas. And so I used to write down ideas in here all the time and in the form of poetry. And then I just have to tell you that a lot of these, and look, when I started this, 1977, holy smokes, he's been writing for a long time. And then sometimes I'll take them out of here and I'll just start typing. And I'll just type things out like this. There's one written in hand. Oh my gosh. Here's one, 2009. Oh, here's one, 1989, a poem to my daughter. Here's one that's probably 87, 89. Here's the carousel. So I was going to show you one thing that I found in here this morning and show you how ideas come out. Come on. I think I saw it in here. There's a song I wrote. Yep. There's a book about trucks I haven't finished. Look at this is 1991. This is called The Big Brown Bug Ballet. There's the copyright. There's all things milled out. This is a children's book that Aaron and I are going to do together someday. So those things that me thinking like an artist, I always will take it and I'll put it in pen form. Look at this right here. This will blow your mind right here. Maybe it won't, but it should. 2015, I sat down and started this and called it the Roo Book, April 28th, 2015. All you peeps in the wheelbarrow, you're taking a field trip around the farm. We'll see the tractor, the garden, the well house, and the pig pen. Might find some scratching bugs out behind the barn. I just start typing, and this poem comes out, and there is 2015, Roo, Hey Roo, What's a Wheelbarrow? There it is. Didn't have that title then. It was just a Roo Book. And here's the whole thing about, here's the whole story. I think I should do an audio track. I should have storytellers read it. I should have, wow, endings different. I can see where I stopped it short here. I should have an old tractor in it, which I had one and I never put it in the book. Okay, so that gives you an idea of how this sort of comes together. Isn't that crazy? So don't throw away your ideas. Put them in an old file, put them inside a book. This stays on my cabinets. This is one of about 6 more that are lying over there with ideas. Here's the back of an envelope that I wrote a song on, probably in 1981. Here's a song that I wrote in 1972. Oh my gosh. David, I wrote this at Wendy Gap. It's called Power. There's the original piece of paper, how yellowed it is. When things come into your head, jot them down. Okay? All right. Hey, I'm going to wait and read this to you at another time. It's a long poem, so I'm not going to bore you with it this morning. But it'll be a fun one to read when I do. It's about a cowboy. So I'll get us some Western music and I'll put it out there. I might even post it for you to hear. So let me paint something else this morning for you. And let me paint something that's, I'm going to use this and this to talk more about journals today when you think like an artist. All right, so here we go. All right, here we go. Jason says his motto, here it is right here. Jason's motto, can you see that? Boom, get it out of your head and onto paper. Out of your head into my, love it, love it, love it. Lego my spell check. You work on Roo speed. How my grand started to do sketch journals. Man, you got to love that. Tamberly Marie, that's a great idea. I have my grands already starting to do sketch journals. Yep. If you can get them to do that, I'm going to tell you. Hey, look, folks, 8:57. If you get TikTok Jones, there's TikTok Jones. Good morning to you this morning. I love it. How do you make the little squares? Oh, okay, yeah, gee, those are little half pans. So she's saying, how do I make those squares? Those are little plastic half pans. I'd love to have one to show you. Hang on, I can do that, I think, in 5 minutes. or less. How about 30 seconds? Just talk amongst yourself for a second. Here we go. I got him. I got him. I got him. There they are, right there. There's the little half pans. There's two right there. Okay, there's two. Take a look. Little magnets glued on the bottom right there. Actually, it's not glued on. It's just, this is an adhesive that sticks on, magnet. Stick to the pans just like so. Okay, so this will hold 6 little half pans right there. So these don't have the, these already have, look at this. Here's how I did these. I just laid them down 3 at a time. The reason it's good to have magnets on them is because I can leave them out here and they're easy to fill. And by the way, I buy small tubes of paint like this. Okay, this is a 15 milliliter. If you buy a 37 milliliter, it's got a big mouth on it. It's hard to get them all in here. Just a little squirt and you're good to go. And then you can just, of course, drop this right in the pan when you're done. This is an easy setup. Do it yourself instead of paying some artist to do it. If you can't do this and you want to order this, you can order those. Cheap Joe's makes a nomadic little travel kit like this. Easy to get your hands on and do. So that's all I've done. I just chose a little silver box with it's silver coated. Instead of and I have my Altoid box downstairs and I have another mint box that I use. And one of those always stays in my bug out bag. All right. So small tubes of paint. This paint, I buy in tubes. This is American Journey paint. People ask me all the time, do you use Daniel Smith? No. Do you use HWC? No. Holbein? Do you use Rembrandt? No. I use American Journey. Why? I like Joe Miller. That's just it. The other thing is I like his paint. I like that he's painted with this all his artistic life. He developed his own. I like it because it's smooth. I like it because it has a lot of pigment in it. It's bright. My roosters needed bright. I mean, he has every color. This periwinkle, this peach, all of those are Cheap Joe's also. Buff titanium, but the bold colors I really do like. And so I like it because it's light fast. And so that's why I paint with that. I answer that question many, many times. All right. So there we go. Hope that answers some of that. Let me just do a quick little sketch here for you before I wrap up today, and I'll do it with, I like these little conversations that happen. Um, One peep, just like the ruse, always telling somebody else what he knows. It's kind of what I do, you know. So I'm sort of, it's my alter ego. I get to tell people what I think. It's and not because I just want to be rude and tell them. It's just because it's kind of how my life works. Yes, you can follow Cheap Joe's on Facebook, which I do. In fact, Cheap Joe's, let's see. Do I have a Cheap Joe's calendar here? Or a catalog? Yeah, look at this. Those of you who are just jumping on the show today, here's one right here. Here's a Cheap Joe's art stuff calendar. Okay, I got to show you this. If you go to cheapjoes.com and you go into the search and you Google, see, I don't know where it is actually. I should know that, right? If you go to Cheap Joe's and you Google Roodoodles, or if you Google 857, this is what comes up. Ready? This is in Cheap Joe's catalog right here. This is 2001 Cheap Joe's art stuff. If you Google it, look who comes up. Ta-da! It says Michael Hahn's Roodoodle Artist Watercolor Set. There's a Yasutoma brush. There's 2 American Journey brushes. There's my little spray bottle. There's the 6 colors that I always start with. There's the thing. So I wish it were 57, but it's not on 57. But the SKU for this is American Journey ROO-857. I didn't do that. Brian did that. I thought that was pretty clever. He said, hey, how you like this? So there's my crazy picture. There's one of my roosters. And so this is a new watercolor set that Joe and his team handle for me. And I was honored to be a part of this catalog. And you know why that happened? You're the reason this happened. Because people became a community and said, that guy's crazy. He's excited about art. He's helping people find their way back to art. He's encouraging those people to paint and give it away. He's encouraging those people to paint and sell it. He's encouraging those people to encourage other people to be artists. And so that's what the nice write-up here about a positive experience. And thank you. Thanks for liking the show. That's the reason right there. When you hit the little love button, what happens is people look at that and go, what's this guy talking about that people are excited? And so that's the one reason I ask people to do that, because companies like this look at it. And then what happens? Yasutoma gets involved. They see this brush and say, what? And so they call me and say, whoa, we would love to give some of your audience brushes. That's how that happens. So I'm just the vehicle that it gets funneled through. So thanks for that. That's how it happens. So there it is in the catalog. Kind of fun, huh? Yeah. They called me and said, hey, we'd love for you to be in our 2021 catalog. And I'm going like, what's the matter with you people? You need to, you got all these great artists that come there and paint. And they go, yeah, but we like your style and we love your community. I mean, they didn't pull any punches. Look, they're in the business to sell art supplies, and somebody has to. Somebody has to be good at it. All right, so this is the water brush right here. The goal is not just to dump all your water into paint. The goal is to learn to use the water creatively. So here, I'm just actually using it lightly. I'll just put a little drop. I'm squeezing just ever so lightly. Right now, I'm not even squeezing at all. I'm just using it as a regular brush. And so, and then I'll clean it out. Sometimes I'll just dip it in the water if I'm here around water. I want a little different brown just for his beak. I do that just so it'll stand out, and maybe his feet. That's also a good thing for maybe coffee. So there's a little black coffee right in there like that. And maybe I need a little brown with that coffee right here like so. That's probably too much. Watch this. Now it's perfect. See that? All right, I think this cup should probably be like my mug, right? It should be like Rue mug right here. Here it is right here. All right, so that's probably a French gray. And okay, and by the way, Joe Miller's shop is going to be a little smaller than Jerry's Artorama or Blick Art Supplies, but they can get you anything you want. They just cover what's kind of, and they're also, their main one is on the literally just right off the campus at Appalachian State University. Appalachian State is Appalachian is called now Appalachian University. It's a great school. My son went there, and that's how I found Cheap Joe's. I was up there putzing around the area, 2005, 2006. Just wandered around in there. 2005, we got ready to do our trip. I had a journal with me. I was hoping someday I could learn to do art journals. Hadn't painted before, any watercolor. It was right then that Carol had just given me supplies. So all this takes off. All of it's very important to how we sort of started. Oh, I'm painting out of both. See here? I'm still painting out of this too. Look at this. All right, got my time is up, but I'm going to label this one right here. I got a great name for that. So that gives you a little idea of how fast that painting can be done in about 2 minutes with a small palette and a water brush. Clean your brush out before you put the lid back on it. Drop it down, and you are ready to fly. Okay. Hey, be creative, will you? Just be creative. And encourage other people. Fun having you on this show. Thanks for liking the show. Thanks for sharing the show. Use the share button. And hey, for Pat and I's sake, so we can at least break even on these books, buy a book if you haven't yet. We think you'll love it. We think you can share it with your local teacher. We'd love for teachers to buy these books and start using them with kids in school, saying, wow, you're highly favored. Quit complaining and get about art. Think like an artist. Skate like a sketch like an ice skater skates, and all these other rules. Balance your composition. Learn more about it. Read every day about something. And 8:57, that's 20 minutes. Find 20 minutes a day to practice your craft. Think about somebody right now that you need to send a text to. And then zip off a little email, a text, or some of you, I saw it on Roost Crew today, have painted all kinds of things you're getting ready to mail out to people. That just blesses everybody. Thanks for liking the show. And I used to have a harmonica here on the landing dock somewhere. All right. I'll see you Saturday morning, Lord willing. I've got a bunch of projects before then, so I'm off and running. Talk to you later.